Hi, my name is Udo Krautwurst, and I'm an associate professor of anthropology here at the Department of Sociology and Anthropology at UPEI, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my book, Culturing Bioscience, a case study in the anthropology of science.
So, what a curious title. Can you tell me what it's about?
It's about something that actually happened here on campus, actually. Very briefly, to give you a little bit of history, I did a contract here in 1999 to 2000, and I was interested in the colonial history of Africa at that point. But I got offered a tenure track job here in 2003, and in those 4 years, some amazing changes had taken place both on campus and off, and I saw an amazing research opportunity. So I just went with that, and I thought, the island is really going in some really interesting directions in terms of the island prosperity strategy, the development of a bioscience sector in particular, and through Dr. Catherine Schultz, who used to be the VP of Research here, I was able to tap into the Atlantic Center for Comparative Biomedical Research, which was active in the vet school. And from there, that's where my project really took hold, and I took that facility and I tried to situate its research in the university and what the province was trying to do, and the effort to kind of make a knowledge economy globally through biosciences, and that's where it started.
It's interesting because when you talk about where you started and you were going to start off on anthropological studies in Africa, I think the layperson, their understanding of anthropology, they nod, yes, I totally get that. How do you do anthropological work on a bioscience cluster? That's curious.
Well, I think one of the interesting things about science is as a society, we have this conception of science is objective, and certainly it strives to be that. But striving to be that doesn't mean that you've achieved that. So there's all kinds of cultural factors that come into that. Whether it's a style of doing research, whether it's the conventions in your particular discipline, say the conventions in physics are different from biology, for example. There are many ways that in the practice, the actual hands-on doing of science, you end up with a variety of different styles or cultures, if you like. And so rather than a quote-unquote tribe of people in the Amazon rainforest, I'm following around a tribe of people with white lab coats.
So let's imagine that tribe of lab coats are completely a foreign idea to anyone. Describe them to someone who wouldn't know anything about them.
They are absolutely meticulous. This is that movement towards that ideal of objectivity, and even here, though, there are all kinds of different ways of being and doing. And so one of the things that I was able to observe at the ACCBR, the Atlantic Center for Comparative Biomedical Research, is that this was an effort to do things in a much more collaborative fashion than most of the work that is done on campus in the vet college, which is based on the individual lab model, which is really what's the basic standard amongst most science labs in North America and Europe and elsewhere. But here you have an effort to try to do something more collaborative, and so that was really interesting to me. So are they a typical bunch, or were they a typical bunch of people wearing lab coats? No, because of that very difference of trying to do something collaboratively.
Now, how do you do field work in this? Like, you're not. Are you sitting in the corner of the lab taking notes, or how does it work?
I was there indeed. In fact, one of the ideals of anthropology is what's called participant observation, where you actually not just observe but get involved. And to the extent that I was around multi-million-dollar equipment in some, I got to do a little bit of stuff that I couldn't break really, but I did get to help out a bit, and it gave me a sense of process and the steps people have to go through to sort of get inside the bodies and the feelings of what people in the lab are up to. So I did get to do some of that, and that was tremendous amounts of fun, and I learned a great deal.
So did you have to study how how other tribes act before you could see how this one is different?
I didn't really get an opportunity to do that. But one of the things I did do is like many anthropologists, if possible, you try to learn a little bit of the language before you go into the field. And so I ended up taking some courses in neuroscience in order to be able to speak the lingo a little better. And I'll be the first to admit that I've still got a long way to go. But it's really piqued my interest in the neurosciences as well. So, based on what I saw in my research, there are some truly interesting things coming down the road in terms of a variety of different things in the neurosciences, particularly. The interests here on the island are in some of the basic research in terms of the neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and those kinds of things. And so it's just captivated my attention in ways I'd never have thought possible.
Right. Sounds fascinating. Thank you very much.
Thank you.